dear students. Welcome to Introduction to Nanoscience and Nanotechnology course, lecture number 8. I'm Dr. Brevis Letters. In today's lectures, we will continue with the physical properties of the nanomaterials, but here we will only trying to explain the crystal structure, some of the very important crystal structures linked with the nanomaterial. So let's start towards today's lectures. That is the crystal structures of the materials. So you know that from your solid state physics course, you all are familiar with the fact that most of the solid they are crystallines. By crystallines, we mean that their atoms are arranged in irregular patterns. You know about the crystalline material, you know about the amorphous material, and you also familiar with the single crystal material. So from the crystalline material or from the crystal material, you know that we mean the material in which the solid or which the atom are arranged in a regular pattern or in a regular manner. So this arrangement of the atom affect the functionality of the material. If we have a material in a regular pattern or in crystal form, so it will have one kind of the properties in comparison to the one if we have that material in amorphous form. If we have that material in a form where their atoms are arranged randomly or irregularly. So the arrangement of the atom, it is also significantly altered the properties of the material at the nanoscale. So some solid have this order presented over a long range as in a crystal, and some of the atom they have it a very short range that we call the amorphous material. So amorphous materials are basically the ones in which we have the arrangement of the atom, the order and the arrangement of the atom at a very small scale, to a very small extent. So our amorphous materials such as glass and wax like long range orders. And these material we don't have regular patterns for the arrangement of the atom. What we can say that that is in glass or wax we have a very low order for the arrangement of the atom, but they can have limited short range order. By the order or by the arrangement we do not mean that the order is totally the atom are totally in a disorder, or there is no order at all in the amorphous. So here we have the orders, but the order of the material is at a very short range. They are not arranged at the large range. So just because of that we have defined them as the local environment that each atom experience. So amorphous materials are the one which has the order at a very small scale, which has very minute order, as compared to the one that we call crystalline material. And a crystalline material we have a long range of the material that are being arranged in a regular pattern, and this arrangement significantly alter the properties of the material. So the special arrangement of the atom in a crystal lattice is described by its unit cell. So what is a unit cell? A unit cell, just like you know that, is the smallest possible volume that displays the full symmetry of the crystal. And here you can see one of them. This is what we mean by the unit cell. We are not going here in full detail because I know that you people have studied the solid state course. So solid state physics, yeah, or the crystallography course, you already familiar by the concept of crystalline unit cell. We are just here to review some of your previous concept that we will utilize here onward in this course. So many material have a preferred unit cell. Just for example, here if you look, a unit cell in 3 dimension. So in 3 dimension, unit cell are defined by 3 lattice constant and 3 angles. Again, you people have learned that in solid state physics and course of crystallography. And in 3 dimensions, we have or we define the unit cell by 3 lattice constants that normally we write the lattice constant by smaller English alphabet A, B, and C. They basically define what? They basically define the lattice constant. And the three angle, it's different angles that's been denoted by alpha, beta, and gamma. They basically denote the angles. So we have, as you know that these arrangement, the lattice constants, the three lattice constant and the three angles, these arrangement that leads to 14 Brevis lattice. And we remember each of these Brevis lattice have different characteristic. And those characteristic that they have restrictions on the lattice constant, angles, and centering of the atom and the unit cell. We have protein Brevis lattice. In those protein Brevis lattice, they are being differentiated on the length of these lattice constants and the angle between these lattice constant. Here we have two lattice constant, let's suppose A and B. So the angle between them is also differ. It's also it changes. So it also change the type of the Brevis lattice. And similarly, if let's suppose we have two lattice constant the same, but the third one is different, so it's also differentiate one kind of Brevis lattice from other kind of Brevis lattice. So this is how we have protein Brevis lattice depend upon the lattice constant. The length of the Brevis, the length of the lattice constants and the angle between them. It defines different Brevis lattice, or it lead to different Brevis lattice. And also the atom, whether we have atom at the center or we have atom at the face, so it's also defined it's a particular kind of the Brevis lattice. If we have a lattice at the center, so we call them with a particular Brevis lattice, we call them Brevis lattice that particular type at the center. Similarly, if we have it at the face or if we have it top, so we pronounce that with that particular Brevis lattice. So the crystal structure, if you take the example of that of a cubic unit cell, so for a cubic unit cell, there are three centering types, and these are the first type we call it sample cubic. And sample cubic structures, we have atom only lying at the corner. We have 8 corners for sample cubic. So in sample cubic we have sample cubic unit cell, we have only 8 atoms, and all these atoms they are lying at the corner of that particular unit cell. But if we have body center cubic center, so along with the corner, we have atoms at the corner of the unit cell, and along with that we have a single atom that is lying at the center of the body. So that's why we have the name for that particular Brevis lattice as body center cubic. In a sample we can call that BCC, that is body center cubic. And we also have face center cubics. What it mean? Face center cubic mean that we have a cubic unit cell, and for that cubic unit cell we have atoms not only at the corner but also at each face of the unit cell. We have the front, back, rear, top, and bottom. We have at all the faces we have one particular atom, so that's why we call them as face center cubic. So this is different type of the cubic unit cell. The example is sample cubic, because simply the atom they are at the corner, they are located at the corner. So we have body center cubic, because along with the corner we have atom at the center of the body, so we call it body center cubic. And we have face center cubic, because at the along with the corner we have atom that are being located at the center of each face of the cubic. So that's why we call that as phase center cubic units have. So size and crystal structure, we remember most metal and the solid form close pack lattice. And good example of phase center cubics are, sodium, aluminum, copper, cobalt, lead, platinum, and so on. These are the example of phase center cubic material. But there are also, materials are the element which form hexagonal close pack structure or hexagonal close packing, and a good example of these material are these kind of material, and most popular of them is magnesium, zinc, yttrium, rubidium, and ammonium, etc. All these are the type of hexagonal close packed materials. So similarly, we have BCC, BCC, FCC, and HCP type of the material. Depend upon the formation energy. We remember when you people do the research uh, in the field of material science or nanotechnology, so you will know that how you can change the crystal structure of the materials. So here you can have chromium, lithium, strontium. You can form them in body center cubic, as well as you can form them in FCC, phase center cubic, and you can form them hexagonal close packing by depending upon their formation energy. If you change the formation energy, so it's mean that you can change the phase of the material, you can change the crystal structure of the material. You can easily change the packing of the material by changing the formation energy of the material. This is once you come to the lab, you trying to perform the experiment, so you will easily found, or you will come you will easily become familiar with this kind of the concept that from the formation energy you can easily change the crystalline structure. Not only you can change the crystalline structure of the material, but also you can change the packing of the materials. So that's why sometime if we have the amorphous material, so we do centering of the material, or we do the annealing of the material to make or to have some arrangement inside that particular material, or in simple words we trying to pack them or to make them into a crystalline form, or to convert them into crystalline form. So for to bring the material into crystalline form, we normally provide the formation energy, and that formation energy mostly we supply in the form of heat. So we heat up the material to a certain point that depend upon that particular point with respect to that particular material, we call them, sometimes we call them centrings, and with respect to that particular point we call them also the annealing. So we will differentiate between the centering and annealing later on in the course, depending upon that what is the actual difference between the 2 points, and what for they are being utilized, especially in the material point of view. So that's all we have for this lecture. Hope you enjoy a lot. We will continue with our discussions in the last lecture, that will be lecture number 9, and that lectures we will try to explain the effect of size and crystal structures on the physical property of the nanomaterial. In this lecture we just learn about how the material they are being arranged in a particular crystal structures. But in coming lecture, that is lecture number 9, we will trying to explain the effect of size and crystal structures on the physical property of the nanomaterials. So stay tuned with the next number 9. Till then, bye bye.